In my first life, I was a fool. That's the simplest way to put it. I was Dr. Marcus Kim Thompson, a linguistics professor who believed in the inherent goodness of people and the clean logic of grammar. My world was built on three simple, devastating facts. The first was my unrequited love for Elena, my childhood friend, a woman who shone so brightly she blinded me to everything else. The second was my brotherly trust in David, my best friend, the man I would have taken a bullet for. The third, and most brutal, was that my love and my trust were fatally misplaced. Elena and David were having an affair, a sordid little secret I helped orchestrate without even knowing it, translating their increasingly explicit Korean love texts under the guise of urgent business. I died on a cold November night, not from a bullet, but from a broken heart, and a speeding truck I never saw coming as I stumbled out of a bar, drunk on betrayal and cheap whiskey. My last thought was a grammar lesson. The future perfect tense. By the time they find my body, they will have already forgotten me. I stare at Elena's phone screen, the Korean characters blurring as my chest tightens. "Just translate it quickly, Marcus," she whispers, her manicured nails drumming a frantic rhythm against the worn oak of my desk. The same desk where I'd died 3 months ago, or would die, depending on how you counted rebirths. This time, I knew what her message said before I even read it. "I can't wait to feel you inside me tonight." The same words that had shattered me in my first life, when I'd discovered she was texting my best friend David, but now, watching her expectant face, I realize something has changed. The pain feels distant, like pressing on an old, faded scar. I am no longer the naive linguistics professor who'd trusted blindly. I am something else entirely. My university office is a cramped 10 by 10 box that smells of instant coffee, old books, and the faint, dusty scent of regret. It hasn't changed. Elena stands too close, her expensive perfume, a cloud of jasmine and entitlement, invading my space. In my first life, I would have found the scent intoxicating. Now it just makes my throat feel tight. "It's for that new import deal," she says, the lie slipping effortlessly from her lips. "The partners in Seoul are just so demanding. You know how it is." Oh, I know. I know the tremor in her voice isn't from business stress. It's from illicit excitement. I know the way she won't quite meet my eyes isn't a sign of professional pressure, but of a guilt she's too arrogant to truly feel. These were all the signs I'd missed before, the grammatical tells in the language of her betrayal. I take the phone from her. My hands are steady. Last time they shook so badly I dropped the phone, cracking the screen. Last time, after I stammered out the translation, I ran to the hallway bathroom and vomited until my throat was raw. This time I feel nothing but a cold, clear focus. The fluorescent lights overhead flicker, casting a sickly pallor on her face. She looks anxious. Good. I clear my throat and begin to translate, my voice a flat, academic monotone. The text says, "Your proposal is intriguing. However, we have concerns about the logistics." He's asking for a more detailed plan regarding distribution. I'm lying, of course. The actual message is far simpler. "My place, 9 p.m. Don't be late." Elena's brow furrows. "Logistics? What logistics? I sent them the entire breakdown yesterday." She chews on her lower lip. She's trying to figure out if her business partner is playing hard to get. The irony is so thick I could choke on it. "Perhaps there was a miscommunication," I offer, my tone suggesting nothing more than a desire to be helpful. I type a response in Korean on her phone. Not what she wants to say, but what I need her to. I write, "Understood. Please clarify your specific concerns so I can address them immediately. Your partnership is of the utmost importance. It's professional, polite, and will infuriate David, who is likely already half undressed in anticipation. "What did you write?" she asks, leaning in again. "I just assured them of your commitment and asked for specifics. It's better to be clear in these negotiations." I hand the phone back. She touches my shoulder. Her hand is warm, the touch meant to be comforting, conspiratorial. "You're such a lifesaver, Marcus. My brilliant brother." The words are the same. The script is unchanged. Last time, that touch, that phrase, sent a pathetic thrill through me. This time my skin crawls. I want to shrug her hand off, to wipe the spot she touched with antiseptic. Instead, I force a smile. It feels like stretching cold clay. "Anything for you, Elena. You know that." Through the office window, I can see students laughing on the quad, their lives simple and untroubled. They throw a frisbee under the autumn sun, oblivious to the quiet, venomous drama unfolding 3 floors above them. They have no idea that this tiny, book-lined office has become a time machine, a crucible where a weak man was melted down and reforged into something harder. Elena is already typing a new message, her thumbs flying across the screen. She's probably cursing David out for his sudden professionalism. She turns her back to me slightly, trying to shield the screen. It's a pointless gesture. As she texts David their new, delayed meeting location, I pick up the pen from my desk. It's a sleek, black fountain pen, a gift to myself after my return. I click the top. A tiny, nearly invisible blue light flashes for a fraction of a second. The camera inside is state-of-the-art. I pretend to jot down a note on my desk blotter, angling the pen just so. Click. I get a perfect, high-resolution photograph of her phone screen, displaying her angry screed to David and his confused, one-word reply. "What?" My pulse thrums, a steady, powerful beat in my veins. It's not the frantic, panicked hammering of a heartbreaking. It's the calm, rhythmic thrum of anticipation, the metronome of a war that has already been won, even if the enemy doesn't know it yet. "I'll cook you your favorite lasagna this weekend," she says, turning back to me with a dazzling smile, the argument with her lover seemingly forgotten. To thank you. The same promise. The same empty currency. In my first life, I'd waited all weekend for a call that never came. "I'd like that," I say, my voice even. "I'd like that very much." She blows me a kiss and walks out, leaving the scent of her perfume lingering in the air like a ghost. I don't watch her go. I'm already connecting the pen to my laptop, saving the first piece of evidence to a triple encrypted file. The folder is named Linguistics. I am, after all, a professor. And this is a new language I'm creating. It's a language of evidence and consequence, of patience and pain. And when I'm finally ready to speak it, they will all understand. The weeks that follow are a masterclass in deception, a meticulous reconstruction of the web that strangled me in my first life. Only this time, I am not the fly. I am the spider. I move through their lives, a ghost in their machine, collecting the data points of their treachery. My sister Sarah is the next node in the network. I visit her penthouse apartment, a sterile glass and chrome monstrosity that always feels cold, no matter the season. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer a panoramic view of the city, a glittering expanse of lights that seems to mock the ugliness of our conversation. She pours us champagne, the bubbles fizzing aggressively in expensive crystal glasses. "Marcus, darling," she begins, her voice as smooth and polished as the marble countertops. "I need a little help, just a small loan to get the boutique through a tight spot." It's the same request, the same lie. The amount is even the same, $50,000. In my previous life, this loan went directly from my savings account to a down payment on a new car for her secret lover, a struggling actor whose only talent was seducing bored, wealthy women. The boutique was just a front, a hobby funded by my misplaced generosity. Of course, Sarah, I say, my voice full of brotherly concern. Whatever you need. Is everything okay with the business? She launches into a well-rehearsed monologue about supply chain issues and fickle customers. Her lies are intricate, detailed, almost impressive. She could have been a fiction writer. I nod and listen, making all the right sympathetic noises. On the table between us, my phone is face up. I'd started a voice memo before I even rang her doorbell. Her practiced lies, her feigned distress, are all being captured, catalogued. You're the best brother, she says, squeezing my hand. Her touch is as cold as the apartment. I'll pay you back as soon as things turn around, I promise. Don't even worry about it, I say. And for the first time, I mean it. I'm not worried about the money. I'm just making an investment. The following Tuesday is poker night, a weekly ritual at David's house. The basement is his sanctuary, a cave of masculine cliches thick with the haze of cigarette smoke and the smell of stale beer. The damp cinder block walls feel like they're closing in on me. In my first life, this was my escape. Now, it's a battlefield. David deals the cards, his movements lazy and confident. He's handsome in a rugged, careless way that people, especially women like Elena, mistake for charm. He's always been the star, and I, the quiet, intellectual sidekick. Heard Elena's deal in Korea is getting complicated, he says, not looking at me. He's trying to sound casual, but I catch the flicker of interest in his eyes. He's probing, trying to see what I know. She's handling it, I say, studying my cards. A pair of jacks. Not great, but playable. You know, he continues, leaning back in his chair, you spend too much time worrying about her, man. She's a big girl. Besides, she's not really your type. He winks at one of the other players. Marcus here has a bit of a crush. The others chuckle. It's an old joke between us. Harmless. Except now I know it's not. He's not teasing me. He's actively undermining me. He's clearing a path for himself, making sure I stay firmly in the friend zone so he can swoop in. He's planting seeds of doubt, not just in my mind, but in the minds of our mutual friends. It's a subtle form of social sabotage. I laugh along with them, a hearty, convincing laugh that doesn't reach my eyes. Guilty as charged, I say, tossing a chip into the pot. But a man can dream, can't he? I watch him for the rest of the night. Watch the way he checks his phone under the table. The slight smile that touches his lips when he thinks no one is looking. He's texting Elena. I don't need to see the screen to know. I'm just gathering data. The escalating demands from Elena are the most difficult part. She has a key to my apartment, a relic from a time when our bond felt unbreakable. She uses it now to appear at my door at midnight, her face a mask of theatrical despair. Rain patters against the windows, a soundtrack to her performance. Marcus, I'm so sorry to bother you so late, she sobs, tears streaming down her artfully distressed cheeks. It's David, my business partner. He's being so difficult. She shoves her phone into my hands. The messages are more explicit now. David is getting impatient, needy. His texts are a mix of crude demands and flowery, manipulative apologies. It's a toxic cocktail, and Elena is forcing me to be her bartender. Her sobs echo in my small living room, a stark contrast to the silence inside me. As I type her betrayals, translating her lies into polite, professional Korean, each keystroke feels like a nail I'm hammering into her coffin. I'm building her a cage out of her own words. Here, I say, handing her a box of tissues. It sounds stressful. Maybe you should take a step back from this partnership. I can't, she wails. There's too much at stake. She's not talking about the business. She's talking about the thrill, the drama. She's addicted to it. I offer her fake sympathy and a glass of water, and she eventually leaves, leaving me alone with the digital residue of her affair. The final piece of the puzzle clicks into place at Sunday dinner. It's a forced family tradition held in our childhood home, a place that should feel safe, but now feels like an enemy stronghold. My mother has cooked a roast, and the dining room's warm lighting does nothing to soften the blow of her words. "Elena is such a wonderful girl," Mom says, beaming at her across the mahogany table. "So ambitious and smart. She's like the daughter I never had." She then turns to me, her smile tightening. "Marcus, you need to get out more. You're always cooped up with your books. It's a lonely lifestyle. No wonder you're still single." The words are a knife, twisted with casual cruelty. I look across the table and see it, a knowing glance exchanged between Elena and Sarah. It's fleeting, almost imperceptible, but it's there. An alliance, a shared secret. They're on the same team, and I am the opposition. My own family has chosen sides, and they haven't chosen mine. The realization doesn't hurt anymore. It just clarifies things. It erases any lingering doubt, any shred of sentimentality. Later that night, I'm back in my command center. What was once a spare bedroom is now an evidence vault. 3 large monitors glow in the dark, displaying a complex web of information. On one screen, there are spreadsheets cataloging financial transactions, every dollar I ever loaned Sarah. On another, a timeline of text messages between Elena and David, cross-referenced with their alibis and my translation requests. The third screen shows a map of the city, dotted with pins marking the locations of their secret meetings, information I've gathered from their texts and from the discreet GPS tracker I placed on David's car. The room hums with the quiet, electronic pulse of my growing archive. I have screenshots, audio recordings, financial records, photographs. It's a digital fortress of their sins, built brick by painful brick. I sip cold coffee, the bitter taste grounding me. This isn't about heartbreak anymore. It's about justice. It's about taking back the narrative. They wrote me as a tragic side character in their sordid little story. They have no idea I'm about to edit the entire manuscript. The first strike needs to be elegant, precise, and public. Elena, in her infinite arrogance, hands me the perfect weapon. "Marcus, I need you for the International Business Summit next month," she announces, catching me in the university library. "You'll be my translator for the presentation to the Korean investors. It's the biggest meeting of my career." The same summit, the same investors. In my first life, my flawless translation had helped her secure a preliminary deal, a victory she celebrated by spending the night with David. This time, the outcome will be different. "Of course, Elena, I'd be honored," I say, my voice radiating an enthusiasm that feels utterly foreign. I already know these investors. Or rather, I know of them. Mr. Choi, the chairman, is a staunch traditionalist, a man for whom respect and cultural etiquette are paramount. He's also, as I discovered from some late-night research in my first life, a man who detests the lazy, stereotypical way Western businesses try to appeal to the Asian market. This information is my key. The day of the summit arrives. The hotel ballroom is a sea of dark suits and ambition. Chandeliers drip crystal light onto gleaming marble floors. Elena is a slash of crimson in the crowd, a tight red dress clinging to her curves. She's nervous, her fingers fluttering at her throat. She needs this. She needs the validation, the success. She needs me. She takes the stage, and I take my place at a small table to the side, microphone ready. The investors, a stern-faced group of 6 men, sit in the front row. Elena begins her presentation, her voice confident and clear. She outlines her innovative marketing strategy, a plan to introduce her boutique consulting services to the lucrative Seoul market. It's a good plan, I'll admit. Competent. Then she cues me. And now my associate will translate our proposed slogan and branding concept. She smiles at the investors. She flashes a slide on the screen behind her. It says, "Elena Consulting, your bridge to the future." I lean into the microphone. My voice is calm and professional. I begin to speak in fluent, respectful Korean. "Esteemed gentlemen," I say, "our proposed branding concept is this. We believe the Korean market is like a shy, inexperienced schoolgirl, easily seduced by shiny things and loud noises. Our company will be the big, strong American man who can show her how the world really works." A collective gasp ripples through the front row. The investors stare, mouths agape. One of them, Mr. Choi, slams his leather-bound portfolio shut. Sharp, angry words are exchanged in Korean. On stage, Elena is still smiling, oblivious. She can't understand what I've said, but she can read the room. She sees the horror on their faces, the fury in their body language. Her smile falters. The color drains from her face, leaving her pale and ghostly under the harsh stage lights. The polite, scattered applause she was expecting dies before it can even begin, replaced by a thick, uncomfortable silence that fills the vast ballroom like a toxic gas. Her moment of triumph has become a masterclass in public humiliation. The fallout is immediate and catastrophic. By evening, social media is ablaze. Someone in the audience had recorded the translation. The clip goes viral. #Elena the Racist is trending worldwide. Business journals and news sites pick up the story, publishing screenshots of my translation, alongside outraged commentary from the Korean business community. Elena's reputation, so carefully constructed, crumbles into dust in a matter of hours. At 3 a.m., my apartment buzzer screams. I see her on the security camera, a pathetic, rain-drenched figure. I let her in. Mascara streaks her cheeks like black tears. Her red dress is wrinkled. "How could this happen?" she sobs, pounding a fist against my door. "What did you say?" They said it was offensive. How?" I feign utter confusion. "Elena, I don't understand. I translated exactly what was on the slide. Your bridge to the future." I don't speak Korean slang. Maybe there's some nuance I missed. I am so sorry. My voice is laced with the perfect amount of shocked innocence. My phone, sitting on the entryway table, is recording her entire breakdown. Another brick for my fortress. The second cycle begins with David. A week after Elena's public immolation, he calls me, his voice a slick blend of sympathy and opportunity. "Man, tough break for Elena," he says. "Anyway, I wanted to talk to you about something else. A real opportunity. You know I've been dabbling in crypto? I know, this is it. The guaranteed investment scheme. The same one that vaporized my life's savings in the first timeline, leaving me broke and broken." "I'm listening," I say, injecting a note of greed into my voice. We meet at a coffee shop. The air smells of burnt coffee and desperation. David lays out the plan, a convoluted scheme involving a new altcoin and an offshore exchange. It's a classic Ponzi scheme, dressed up in techno jargon. I play the part of the eager, slightly clueless academic, asking all the wrong questions, looking impressed by his flashy, meaningless charts. "I'm in," I say, after an appropriate amount of fake deliberation. "I can probably pull together about 100 grand. His eyes light up. It's more than he got from me last time. "That's great, man. You won't regret this." Oh, I know I won't. That afternoon, I package my recording of our conversation, along with David's white paper for the scam coin, into a neat, anonymous email and send it to the Securities and Exchange Commission's Fraud Division. 2 weeks later, Instead of watching my bank account drain to zero, I'm watching the evening news. A fleet of black vans and news trucks are crowded outside David's apartment building. Reporters shout questions as federal agents lead him out in handcuffs. His face is a mask of disbelief. The headline scrolls across the bottom of the screen. Local man arrested in multi-million-dollar cryptocurrency scam. His accounts are frozen. His assets are seized. I'm sitting across the street in my car, sipping a coffee from the same shop where he'd pitched me. The revenge is so sweet it tastes like honey on my tongue. That night my phone buzzes 17 times. 17 voicemails from David, each more desperate than the last. His voice cracks, pleads, begs. "Marcus, it's a misunderstanding. I never meant for you to get hurt. I can fix this. Just call me back, brother. Please." I listen to the first one, then delete them all without a second thought. I brew myself a pot of expensive evening tea, the steam rising from the cup like incense, a fragrant offering to the gods of consequence. Sarah's turn is last. She needs another loan, this time for an emergency restock. I agree without hesitation. We meet at her boutique, a temple of overpriced clothes and accessories. The fixtures gleam mockingly under the track lighting. As I transfer the money from my phone, I make a second, more important call, an anonymous tip to the IRS about a local business owner who deals exclusively in unreported cash transactions and has a history of tax evasion. The end is swift. 2 days later, a team of auditors arrives at the boutique with boxes and badges. They are not impressed by the expensive fixtures or the Italian leather handbags. They are, however, very interested in her complete lack of legitimate bookkeeping. Her assets are frozen, her boutique is shuttered. The local news runs a small but satisfying piece on the scandal. I read it while grading midterm papers in my office, a classical station playing softly on the radio. She arrives at my apartment that evening, a ghost of her former self. Her designer clothes are wrinkled, her makeup is smudged, and her eyes are hollow with desperation. "You have to help me, Marcus," she whispers, her voice a dry rasp. "You're my brother." I don't remind her of all the times she used that relationship for her own gain. I don't point out the hypocrisy. I simply lead her to the kitchen, sit her down at the table, and pour her a cup of chamomile tea. I listen to her pleas, her sobs, her promises to change. I listen with a face carved from stone, a mask of perfect, impenetrable sympathy. I offer her nothing but tea and silence. It is, I think, the cruelest response of all. The ground has shifted beneath their feet. My quiet, passive compliance has been replaced by a series of devastating, seemingly random catastrophes. They are bleeding, and they can't find the source of the wound. Their fear, a palpable thing, begins to curdle into suspicion. And suspicion, as it always does, forges alliances. The first sign comes in the form of a forced family meeting. My mother organizes it. The setting is cruelly ironic. The old kitchen of my childhood home, a place that still smells of my father's pipe tobacco, and the memory of my mother's apple pie. Sunlight streams through the cheerful checkered curtains, illuminating the grim faces of my personal jury. Elena, Sarah, and David sit around the worn wooden table, a united front of concerned trolls. "Marcus, honey, we're worried about you," my mother begins, her hands twisting a dish towel. "You've changed," Sarah says, her eyes narrowed. The desperation from her last visit is gone, replaced by a hard, calculating edge. "You've been so distant, cold." "We think you might need to talk to someone," David adds. He's out on bail, looking haggard and thin. The swagger is gone. "Professionally, this stress, it's getting to you." Elena, the consummate actress, places a hand over her heart. We're just saying this because we love you, Marcus. We've all been through so much. Your apathetic reaction to our problems, it's not normal. It's like you don't care at all. It's a beautifully orchestrated performance of gaslighting. They're taking the consequences of their own actions and repackaging them as my psychological breakdown. They're building a narrative where I am the villain, the unstable element that needs to be controlled. I play my part to perfection. I let my voice tremble. I widen my eyes in confusion and hurt. Changed. I don't understand. I've been trying to be supportive. I'm just tired. I look from face to face, a mask of wounded innocence. I just want my family back, I whisper, the words catching in my throat. It's my best performance yet. While they spin their web of false concern, my laptop sits on the kitchen counter, nestled between my mother's recipe books. The webcam is on. The microphone is live. Their concerned voices, their manipulative tactics, their unified front of lies, it's all being recorded. Every word is another thread in the tapestry of their downfall. After the failed intervention, their desperation escalates. Elena's translation requests become a daily onslaught. She's a drowning woman, and I'm the only piece of driftwood in her self-made storm. Her pristine apartment now reeks of stress sweat and cheap wine. Empty bottles litter the countertops. She paces between me and her phone, a caged animal, while I calmly translate David's increasingly paranoid and threatening messages. He blames her for his legal troubles. She blames him for being weak. Their toxic affair is imploding, and I am the calm, methodical stenographer of its demise. The streetlights outside her window cast long, menacing shadows through the blinds as she begs me to fix it, to make him understand, to make him stop. They begin to meet in secret. My surveillance, once a passive act of data collection, becomes an active hunt. I follow them. I listen. A high-powered directional microphone picks up their hushed, frantic conversations in noisy coffee shops. A tiny audio bug planted in Sarah's car captures their plotting in desolate parking garages. They huddle together, 3 rats in a trap of their own design. He has to be behind this, I hear David hiss, his voice raw with paranoia. My lawyer looked into the SEC tip. It was untraceable, but the timing, it's too perfect. And my audit, Sarah whispers. The tipster knew exactly where to tell them to look. Who else knows my business like that? The translation, Elena says, her voice barely audible. The summit. It was deliberate. He humiliated me. Their fear solidifies into a plan. I hear them discuss it in the back of Sarah's BMW, the engine idling in a dark corner of a mall parking lot. They talk about my instability, my erratic behavior, my delusions. They talk about doctors and evaluations. They talk about having me committed. The word hangs in the air between them. Involuntary. They're going to use the law, twist the mental health system to neutralize me, to silence me. From my own car parked 3 rows away, I watch them. Classical music plays softly on my radio, a calm, civilized counterpoint to their savage plotting. My telephoto lens captures their anxious, conspiratorial faces, the documents Sarah passes to David. Click. Another photo for the archive. Click. Another nail. The final act of their conspiracy is as desperate as it is predictable. Elena calls me late one night, her voice choked with manufactured panic. Marcus, thank God you answered. It's an emergency, a medical emergency. One of my Korean clients had a heart attack here, at City General. His family only speaks Korean. They need a translator for the doctors. Please, you have to come now. It's a clumsy, obvious lie, but I pretend to fall for it. I'm on my way, I say, my voice full of urgency. I meet her in the sterile, brightly lit lobby of the hospital. The air smells of antiseptic and fear. She grabs my arm, her grip surprisingly strong. This way, they took him to a private wing. She leads me down a series of long, empty corridors. The fluorescent lights overhead buzz with an unnerving hum. Our footsteps echo on the polished linoleum. I know where we're going. I'd studied the hospital blueprints online weeks ago. We're not headed to the cardiac unit. We're headed to the psychiatric ward. As we round the final corner, I see them. Sarah and David, standing by a set of heavy, locked doors. They're holding a clipboard with official-looking papers. Forged commitment papers. A doctor I've never seen before stands with them, his face impassive. They've cornered me. It's a well-laid trap, but they've made a fatal miscalculation. They think I'm still the man who walks blindly into traps. Just as Elena says, "Marcus, we're doing this for your own good." My phone buzzes in my pocket. It's not a call. It's an alert from a pre-scheduled, time-delayed email I'd set up that morning. The email, containing a full dossier of their plot, including audio recordings of them planning this very moment, has just been delivered to 2 recipients, my lawyer and the head of hospital security. Seconds later, a security guard's radio crackles to life down the hall. Then another. Footsteps, heavy and fast, are approaching. Sarah and David's triumphant expressions dissolve into confusion, then panic. The doctor's impassive face flickers with alarm. 2 security guards round the corner, moving with purpose. They don't look at me. They walk straight to Sarah and David. "Sir, ma'am, you need to come with us," one of the guards says, his voice firm. "There's been a report of attempted fraudulent committal and conspiracy." David sputters. Sarah turns white as a sheet. Elena, seeing the trap collapse, does the only thing she knows how to do. She runs. She turns and flees back down the hallway, her heels clattering on the floor, a sound of pure, unadulterated panic. I don't try to stop her. I just watch from the hospital entrance as she disappears into the rainy night. The cool mist feels clean on my face. The taste of rain is on my lips. It tastes like victory. The world I knew, the world I was methodically dismantling, was only a fraction of the truth. I thought I was a linguistics professor, a man of modest means, fighting a quiet war with the limited resources of his intellect. I was wrong. The reality of my situation, the true nature of my power, was about to be revealed in the most dramatic way imaginable. The day after the hospital incident, I receive a call from an unknown international number. The voice on the other end is formal, speaking in crisp, soul-inflected Korean. It's a lawyer representing the estate of a man I barely knew, my maternal grandfather, Kim Min-jun. He requests my immediate presence in Seoul to discuss a matter of significant inheritance. I'm on a plane within 12 hours. The law office is on the 80th floor of a skyscraper that pierces the Seoul skyline. The room smells of old leather, expensive tea, and the quiet, immense weight of money. The lawyer, a man named Mr. Park, slides a thick portfolio across a mahogany desk that's larger than my university office. "Your grandfather," Mr. Park begins, "was a very discreet man. He built his empire from nothing after the war. He never wanted his family in America to be burdened or targeted by his wealth." He opens the portfolio. Inside are stock certificates, deeds, and corporate charters. My grandfather, the quiet old man I'd met only a handful of times, the man who sent me polite birthday cards with $20 bills inside, was not a retired shopkeeper. He was the founder and majority shareholder of the Kim technology empire, a global conglomerate specializing in semiconductors and consumer electronics. And as his only grandson, his sole heir, I had just inherited all of it. The numbers are staggering, incomprehensible. The city lights blur into a glittering river outside the skyscraper windows as the magnitude of it sinks in. My net worth isn't the meager salary of a professor. It's $2.3 billion. The very company Elena had been so desperate to impress, the company whose investors I had so spectacularly offended on her behalf was, in fact, mine. The news breaks the next day. It's not a quiet, private affair. The succession of a multi-billion-dollar corporation is global news. My face is plastered across every financial news channel, every major newspaper website. Mysterious American professor Marcus Kim Thompson revealed as heir to Kim technology empire. I watch the fallout from a suite in one of Seoul's finest hotels. In a cheap motel room on the outskirts of the city, Elena stares at a television screen, her face a mask of horror. In her half-empty penthouse, Sarah drops her phone, the screen shattering as my face smiles out from a news article. In a bail bondsman's office, David sees my picture on a wall-mounted TV and slumps into a chair, utterly defeated. The struggling, pathetic professor they had dismissed, manipulated, and tried to destroy was now one of the most powerful men in Asia. The power dynamic hasn't just shifted. It has been annihilated and rebuilt from the ground up. The consequences for them are immediate. Elena's few remaining Korean clients, upon learning she had tried to defraud and manipulate the new chairman of Kim Tech, cancel their contracts en masse. Her phone rings with termination notices, each call another death knell for her career. Her boutique consulting firm, her pride and joy, becomes worthless overnight. Her expensive office, with its marble floors and designer furniture, is now just an empty, echoing monument to her failure. That night, as I stand looking out at the sprawling city, a shimmering light coalesces in the corner of my suite. It's him, my grandfather. His spirit stands before me, a translucent figure glowing with a soft, ancestral wisdom. He is not the frail old man from my memories, but a powerful, commanding presence. "You have done well, my grandson," his ghost whispers, his voice not in my ears, but directly in my mind. He speaks in Korean. "But your journey is not just your own. Your rebirth was a gift from the ancestors. We saw the injustice, the dishonor. We could not let it stand. Revenge is a dish best served with honor. I learned the truth. My death was not an accident. My rebirth was not a coincidence. It was a deliberate intervention by my lineage, a spiritual reset designed to give me the power to restore my family's honor, an honor that had been tarnished by the actions of those who betrayed me. The incense I light on the windowsill is no longer just for my own peace. It is an offering to them, to the spirits who armed me for this war." The media frenzy intensifies. The story is too juicy to ignore. My revenge, once a silent, personal campaign, becomes international news. The translation betrayal, as the tabloids call it, goes viral. Screenshots of Elena's manipulative texts to me, which my lawyer strategically leaks, are translated into a dozen languages, trending worldwide. Coffee shops from London to Tokyo buzz with discussions of the professor who played the long game. I wield my newfound power with surgical precision. From my new position as chairman, I issue a single, simple directive. Elena's company, and any company associated with her, Sarah, or David, is to be permanently blacklisted from all business dealings with Kim Tech and its vast network of subsidiaries. It's a corporate death sentence. Rain streaks down the windows of Elena's apartment. She stares at the termination email on her laptop. The final, definitive end to her career. She had tried to climb a mountain, not realizing the man she was using as a foothold was the mountain itself. She is crushed, buried under the weight of an empire she never even knew existed. The end, when it comes, is not a fiery explosion, but a quiet, cold implosion. They come to me together, a pathetic trinity of desperation. They have managed to secure a meeting, likely by begging one of my new assistants. They arrive at my penthouse, the new headquarters of my life, a sprawling space of glass and steel overlooking the city that is now mine to command. The air in the penthouse smells of success, the clean scent of leather from the Italian sofas, the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee, the faint, hopeful fragrance of the orchids on the windowsill. It is a world away from the stale, cramped atmosphere of their own crumbling lives. They stand before me on the polished Italian marble floor, their expensive designer clothes looking rumpled and ill-fitting, as if borrowed for a role they no longer know how to play. Then, in a final, horrifying act of submission, they kneel. The three of them, Elena, Sarah, David, kneeling before me, their faces stained with tears, their bodies trembling. Elena is the first to speak, her voice a ragged, broken thing. She confesses everything between shuddering sobs, the words tumbling out in a torrent of self-pity and regret. The mascara she can still somehow afford runs in black rivers down her cheeks, staining the front of her silk blouse. "I never loved him, Marcus," she gasps, reaching a pleading hand toward me. I take a single, deliberate step back, clasping my hands behind my back. Her hand falls, empty, to her side. "I was scared. I was stupid. It was always you I admired, you I wanted to be with. I didn't know how." The lie is so audacious, so insulting, it's almost impressive. Below us, 40 floors down, the city hums with life, indifferent to her pathetic performance. Sarah is next. Her pleading is financial, transactional. She produces a sheaf of legal documents from her designer purse, her manicured hands trembling so badly the papers rattle. "I'll pay it all back," she whispers, her voice hollow with defeat. "Every single dollar, with interest. I'll sign over my remaining assets. Whatever is left. Please, Marcus. Blood is thicker than water. We're family." The morning light streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows is unforgiving, exposing the dark, sleepless circles beneath her eyes. Finally, David makes his appeal. He tries to dredge up the ghost of our shared past. His voice is thick with unshed tears as he talks about our childhood, about building forts in the backyard and making blood-brother pacts with a rusty pocket knife. He even pulls a tattered, faded photograph from his wallet. It's of the two of us, aged 8, grinning gap-toothed at the camera. "Remember this?" he pleads, his voice cracking. "We promised. Brothers forever. I messed up, Marcus. I messed up so badly, but that was real. Our friendship was real. Please, brother, don't do this." The memories flicker in my mind like scenes from an old, silent film. They feel like they belong to someone else's life. I watch them, the three architects of my first death, now groveling at my feet, and I feel nothing. Not anger, not pity, not even the sweet satisfaction of victory. There is only a vast, quiet emptiness. The war is over. The battle is won. The fire has burned out, leaving behind only cold, sterile ash. I turn away from them and walk to the kitchen counter. I pour myself a cup of traditional Korean barley tea, the same kind my grandfather used to drink. The steam rises from the cup, a small, fleeting prayer to my ancestors. I take a sip. The taste is earthy, bitter, and cleansing. I turn back to face them. They are watching me, their eyes wide with a desperate, flickering hope. They are waiting for a verdict, for a sign of forgiveness, for a lifeline. I give them none. My voice, when I speak, carries no emotion. It is not angry, it is not triumphant. It is simply a statement of fact, a quiet, final closing of a door. No. The single syllable falls into the vast, silent space of the penthouse like a judge's gavel. It echoes, sharp and definitive. I see the last flicker of hope die in their eyes. I see them crumble, their bodies seeming to shrink, to collapse in on themselves. I say nothing more. I don't need to. I simply press a small, discreet button on the underside of the counter. Seconds later, two of my personal security guards, men in sharp, impeccably tailored suits, enter the room. They move with quiet, efficient grace. "Please escort them out," I say, my voice calm. I do not watch them go. I turn my back and return to my tea, looking out at the city lights twinkling to life as dusk begins to fall. I hear their pleading voices, their sobs, their whispers of my name, fading as they are led to the elevator. Then, there is only the soft hiss of the elevator doors closing, and silence. I take another sip of my tea. Justice, I think, doesn't taste sweet. It doesn't taste like anything at all. It's just the quiet, peaceful absence of a poison that has finally been purged from your system. 6 months later, the world is a different color. The smog of betrayal has lifted, revealing a sky of brilliant, unending possibility. I sit cross-legged on a cliff overlooking the Pacific in Malibu. The sun is rising, painting the waves in strokes of gold and crimson. A cool, salt-tinged breeze washes over me, carrying the scent of freedom. My meditation app chimes softly, signaling the end of my session. I breathe in the peace of the morning and exhale the last, faint traces of anger. The scar is still there, but it no longer aches. It is just a part of my story, a map of where I've been. My life is no longer about revenge. It is about reconstruction. 2 months ago, I was in Seoul, cutting the ribbon on the Kim Grandfather Cultural Center, a state-of-the-art facility dedicated to promoting Korean arts and providing scholarships for underprivileged students. As I stood on the steps, surrounded by the laughter of children and the grateful smiles of community leaders, I saw a cherry blossom tree in the courtyard. Beneath its branches, for just a moment, I saw my grandfather's spirit. He wasn't glowing or translucent anymore. He was just a proud old man, nodding in approval before fading into the bright sunlight. His work was done. Mine was just beginning. My relationships are also being rebuilt, this time on a foundation of truth. At a linguistics conference in London, I meet Dr. Jin Aicha. She's a professor from Yonsei University, specializing in ancient Korean poetry. We talk for hours over cups of steaming coffee, our conversation a lively dance of syntax and semantics. Her eyes sparkle with fierce intelligence, and her smile is as warm and genuine as the morning sun. There are no hidden motives in her words, no manipulative currents beneath the surface of her kindness. There is only connection, pure and simple. It feels like learning a new language, one I am eager to master. I still teach. My university, impressed by my newfound philanthropic status and the massive endowment I provided, has given me a new, expanded classroom and a reduced course load. I spend my time helping students who are struggling, not just with language, but with life. Chalk dust motes dance in the afternoon sun as I explain the nuances of the subjunctive mood or the complex beauty of a perfectly structured sentence. My lessons, however, now extend beyond grammar. I teach them about resilience, about finding strength in their own narratives, about translating their dreams into a reality they can hold in their hands. I am a better teacher for having been broken. I received 3 Christmas cards that year. They are from Elena, Sarah, and David. I recognize their handwriting on the envelopes. They've each started over in different cities, in different smaller lives. I can guess the contents of the cards. More apologies, updates on their new paths, pleas for a connection I will never grant. I file them, unread, in a box labeled past tense. My focus is fixed on the future perfect, on what I will have accomplished, on the peace I will have built. As I put the box away, Snow begins to fall outside my penthouse window, each flake a tiny, perfect piece of forgiveness, blanketing the city in a soft, transformative silence. Evening finds me on my terrace garden. The city spreads out below me, a breathtaking tapestry of scattered diamonds. My hands, the same hands that once translated the words of my own betrayal, now move gently among the herbs, tending to new life. I crush a sprig of rosemary between my fingers, the sharp, clean scent rising to meet me. It smells of memory and possibility. I am no longer defined by the weeds I had to pull. I am defined by the garden I am now planting. The pain has been translated, it has been transformed, and the new language it speaks is peace. The final word, the one I had to learn to say to them so I could finally say it to myself, is goodbye.